Hey everybody, Chris here, your chairman of SUBTA. I'm super excited today. I've got Carrie Zahner here from Carrie's Marys. Carrie, thank you so much for being on. And Carrie's looking to launch your new subscription, right, Carrie?
I am, yes. Hopefully in the next 5 or 6 weeks.
Why don't you take a second and tell us a little bit more about what you're launching, and then we're going to get into some things that we can do to help you out.
So my first event with SUBTA was the New Orleans. So probably about 18 months ago, give or take. And I went for my previous business I wanted to learn more about the cash flow model and how this monthly recurring thing worked. And the more I sat there in these conferences, I've always made my own Bloody Mary mix, my own beef jerky, my own pickles. And I just started listening to everybody, and I kind of left there with this idea of Carrie's Marys. So basically what I'm doing is I've manufactured my own Bloody Mary mix. I'm working on some pickles and some beef jerky, and I'm just putting it together in a box state by state. And you can either get a barbecue sample or a brunch sample, all focused on Bloody Marys.
I love it. And Carrie, I think you might have approached me with this idea at the event, didn't you?
I did.
I did. I'm meeting so many people at the event, but I feel like I remember now that you
I totally understand.
You walking by, and I think I remember this vividly. We were walking and talking. You were telling me about it. So one, I love to hear that you were inspired by the event and that you're now looking to launch. That's super exciting. For many of you that are just tuning in, Carrie's going to take some time to ask me some questions. I'm going to give her some insights to help her launch. So, Carrie, tell me, what are the couple of things you want to ask me? What's the biggest question you've got right now to launching that I can help with?
I would say I probably have two big questions, that being pricing structure and the other being how to resell other people's products. So that seems to be the two things that how to structure the pricing in terms of how many options, do I do 3 months, 6 month, annual, and then the reselling of products. So those are my two major questions.
Good. The pricing can be tricky in some cases, but I think that a lot of entrepreneurs make a mistake by just like slapping a price on their subscription based on what maybe their competition's doing, or like a number that they think is like the right number, right? I made the same mistake for Gentleman's Box. So when we launched at $25 a month because like our competitor was 28, and we're like, oh, 25 is this great number, right? Like, but the truth was, and we eventually ended up raising our price to $29, that whether there's so many studies that were done, I think MIT had done one study specifically, but like $29 and $25 in the consumer's mind is like the same. And so when we upgraded to 29, we saw no drop off in conversion, and we were acquiring customers the same. Now, that, like in a sense, like potentially cost us millions of dollars because we started at a lower price.
Right.
However, the right way to do it is to first identify your costs of making the product. Then we want to build in the margin.
Right. Okay.
And we want to build in the margin of what it looks like now and what it looks like at scale, meaning your margin might only be 20% now. When you get to 200, 500, 1,000 units,
gross margin,
it's going to get better, right? So think about it like this. If your costs were $15 shipped, again, I'm making this up for the sake of making this up. It might make sense to come in at $19. One, it's a really good price point. Your margin is only 20%, but you've identified that when you get to 1,000 subscribers, you're actually going to get your cost down to $10, and now you're at this 50% margin. The goal and target's going to be wanting to get to like this 45 to 50% margin, right?
Okay, that was one of my questions for this industry. What is
29? Whether that's 19, whether that's 39, whether that's 49. I don't want you to pick an arbitrary number. I want you to put together an exercise of what are my costs at 20 subscribers, what are my costs at 500, and what are my costs at 1,000, and then come up with a price after that. And you more than likely can just end it in a 9. You don't need to be at 25, 26, 27. Like 29 is going to sell just as well. If you're coming in where you feel like 23 is the number, then I'm going to encourage you to figure out how to get to like 19, right? Okay. So that's the first thing, is don't come up with an arbitrary number based on what the market's showing you or where you think you need to be at. Build some margin. Even if you have to really have low margins early on, build for scale, and then your margins will come to fruition. Because the box that it gets shipped in is going to drop tremendously when you ship more. The shipping costs are going to drop, right? Fulfillment costs are going to drop. Product costs are going to drop. All those things are going to drop, and your margin's going to come.
Okay. Okay. And that was one of my questions, because obviously every month everything changes, and I'm moving around from state to state. So I'm launching with the St. Louis box because I'm from St. Louis. So I have more connections here in St. Louis than I would in, say, Oregon or Hawaii. So
when you say connections, that's for what? Product to go in there?
Yes. For local businesses. So I'm highlighting smaller businesses, and like teas, honeys for the brunch box, barbecue sauces, spices, rubs, things like that.
This isn't Carrie's products. It's products that you're finding from other local businesses to make.
Every box will have a bottle of Carrie's Mary's, which I've manufactured. It's a bottle of Bloody Mary mix, and then it's either going to be surrounded by brunch items or barbecue items. And I'm revolving from state to state.
Got it. So just so I understand the business model, if you work with a local business in St. Louis and you put their barbecue products in there, if you go to Detroit, are you finding a different business in Detroit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm finding a more local.
Why? Because you think that's going to be appealing locally to the people that are in that city?
Both, and I think I like highlighting small business. I like giving them an opportunity to get free marketing, and just let people from around the country try different things from different states that you might not otherwise try.
Okay, I want to make sure I got that right. So then if I'm in California and I get the February 2021 box, I might get the barbecue sauce from the local business in Detroit.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So this is good. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure that you weren't trying to build the box around each city that month. It's one city for that month.
Yeah. Right? And then the next. Yeah.
So,
but it's made sourcing.
Right. You're right. The product cost could change but you have to put a budget in place, meaning you have to say that no matter what, I'm not spending more than X amount of dollars. And if that local business can't meet that, then like maybe we have to find another local business, because as much as you want to support the local business, I love that. You also have to build one for you, right?
Right.
and what will really help you though to work with those businesses and help them out the best is getting ahead with them, saying like, hey, let's feature you in our August 2021 box. Give them time to place their orders ahead of time, lower their costs, get the product to you for less, right? So,
and I think that's where I've been struggling, because I don't have pre-orders, and it's really hard for me to say, oh, I'll send out 200 boxes this month, because I really don't know. So it's been difficult having those conversations.
Do you think the sell point is the local business though? Right? So like, I'm giving you another perspective to think about here. I know that you want to highlight a local business, but like, what if that doesn't fit the model, right? What if the consumer just wants this awesome Bloody Mary mix every month, and they're like less concerned with where it's coming from, but they just want Carrie's Marys, right? Like now you're potentially like causing not friction, I'd say like a bottleneck with like what the consumer wants and like what you're trying to achieve. Mm-hmm. So I think like thinking about what I would do if I was you is I would build out first Carrie's Mary's Bloody Mary mix, and you get your own products initially. And then
I've already got that done. So, but then what do you put in the box with it?
So what were some of the items that you put for the brunch? Give me an example.
Sure. I have some teas, I have some granolas.
Let's see that.
The camera's a little backwards.
That's okay. So you got honey there in the corner.
Yeah, we got honey and some tea. So this is Fire Pot Tea that's in St. Louis. We have some granola from Brentwood.
Can't we find products to put in there that are still unique, but they're more nationally known? Like, right, they've got a distribution that's national, right? Like they go into Whole Foods or they go into some of these more boutique businesses. The only reason why I'm suggesting that is they're more likely to have a lot of inventory, and they're more likely to be flexible as to like whether you buy 25 or you buy 500. Right. Does that make sense?
It does. I was trying to think of a way, especially with COVID now too, to help support local businesses from state to state. So
then if you don't have pre-orders, then just start small and try to sell out. Start with like, say I want to order 25 units. Right? Like what's the worst that can happen?
I started with 50. That was basically my goal. I'm like, let's just.
I think you're on the right path then.
Okay.
So if you're thinking about how you're building the price, then you just got to put a budget on your costs. Like I can't spend more than $20 or $15 on every other item that goes in there besides the Bloody Mary mix. And then you just curate the box around that, right? It's the same thing about like you also have to consider that for the weight of the box, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't put a budget and policy on the weight of the box and you go over by a pound, all of a sudden shipping costs go up.
Right.
And now your margin just got killed.
Right. That was one of my next questions too, is what's the best way to start shipping? USPS, FedEx? On a small.
I mean, you're so early on. USPS just makes it really easy, right? As you start to grow, you know, at SUBTA, we've got so many great partners I can introduce you to that will then work on rates for you. But what's nice is your boxes will all go priority mail, which should essentially get it there quicker. I love the idea of for the very first box with every subscriber sending that box priority because the consumer is excited. It's coming, right?
Right.
I have a question for you around your business model, and I have a tendency to do this every time someone's got a new idea.
Sure.
Is there a model that is like less focused around all the other items, and maybe there's only like 2 or 3, and there's more Bloody Mary mix that lasts a whole month? Like, how long would that mix last? Would that last a month?
Well, I guess it depends how much you drink. It's enough for 4 8-ounce drinks.
Okay, so what is the average consumer drink in a month that likes Bloody Marys? Do we have any data on that?
Not really. I would say, I mean, I like to drink it with someone else, so I would say that's probably two sit downs of having a drink with someone.
And do you okay?
So maybe half.
I love the idea that it's a replenishable product. So somebody's that like loves Bloody Mary, you know, do they drink that once a weekend? Then great.
Yeah.
Enough for the week, for the month. I think data is going to tell us whether or not we need to think about like more frequency, bigger bottle. I don't know. I have this idea in my head where like your branded Bloody Mary mix needs to like become the Bloody Mary mix that everybody loves that you get direct to the consumer. Right. Again, I'm not trying to shy away from you highlighting these other brands and products that go in there, but you have less control with that.
Yeah.
Right. Eventually you want to have Carrie Mary's cheese and beef jerky and like
and pickles and olives and
like that's the dream play. Like that's where I want you to be.
And that's initially when I started this 18 months ago, that's what I wanted to do. And when I started manufacturing this Bloody Mary mix, I realized how difficult it was just to get a product to market. So I'm like, how can I get this launched with only having one product and build as I go?
Yeah. Well, then you do that as that with the roadmap being that eventually it's going to be filled with like all the other product lines.
Yeah.
What you want to do is think like, I don't want to think small picture here. I want you to build a really good business that you love, right? And so thinking that when the consumer is thinking about having a Bloody Mary with their friend, it's Carrie's Mary's. That's what we need to happen, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you deliver it to their door and they don't have to ever go out and get Bloody Mary mix ever again because I know that this is coming every month.
And on Thursday, if they know they're having a party Saturday night, you want a Sunday fun day box, I'll have it out to you overnight. You know, stuff like that.
I love it. Okay, good. What was the second question you had?
Well, we kind of touched on it, but just having that conversation with people to get stuff in your box has been difficult for me. And I guess I have a question on the liability side too. As far as permissions, I don't know, for lack of better verbiage there, what type of, if I were to put something in my box and they weren't aware of it, is that against the rules? Should I be having conversations?
Like if you bought it wholesale?
Yeah, if I bought it at cost.
I mean, look, I'm not an attorney, but I'm fairly certain there was like this. There was this case. Oh gosh, I'm not an attorney. But it was like 2004 or something, where when a consumer buys something in the normal course of business, you're free to do what you want with it. So if I go buy this T-shirt for $17, I'm allowed to sell it on eBay for $40. Like they can't stop me from doing that.
Right. If someone wants to buy it, they want to buy it.
If that brand had a contract with me saying you cannot buy my Nike stuff for $17 and resell it for $50 because I signed an agreement saying that, then I couldn't do that. But if you were to buy it from another manufacturer or wholesaler and put it in your box, there's nobody stopping you from doing that. Double check with an attorney, but I'm like, I would bet that I am right on that.
Okay. I would think because it's free marketing for them, but at the same time, they lose control of their product image. And if it's being misrepresented, and so,
Maybe they're losing control of their product image. It depends on who's selling, like how it's being presented, right? You're not reselling their product. That's what you do. Like we're not I'm not trying to buy it from you for $3 and resell it for 40. I'm simply taking your product and I'm putting it in this box that's going to be going to people that are in your target market, and they're going to be able to discover your product, which is essentially, like you said, free marketing. And that's the pitch.
right. Okay.
Subscription box is like the new magazine. When you got a magazine before, what would you have? You'd be flipping through pages, you'd be looking at ads. You might have like a perfume or a cologne tab that you would flip over and smell. But now the subscription box, like we're actually putting product samples in there, and we're putting a little booklet that talks about them.
Yeah.
And instead of having to sniff a page on paper, like you're getting a little sample of perfume or cologne, right? Or you're getting a little bit of cheese, or so yeah. That's not something I would be worried about.
Okay. Well, good. I've had a few questions about that, so that makes it a little easier. In terms of, I know when this first started, it was a big thing to get a free gift or a free item or get as many things as you can for cheap. Do you find, especially now with COVID and the convenience of having things delivered, do you find that that's kind of shifting, or is it still a big thing to get a free gift when you sign up?
You're saying it's like a marketing tool, like sign up today and get a free bottle of this, like, or a free t-shirt, or you're saying a free gift for purchase?
That, or every month, I do Stitch Fix and I do Grove Collaborative, and it used to be that, every month, if you hit a certain number, you would get a free gift from Grove. Yeah. So I've noticed that it's gotten higher and the items are less. And I wonder if there has been a shift in this free gifting. Well,
yeah, but those models are different, right? Because Stitch Fix and Grove are charging you like based on what you want to buy that month, right? They're not like
Grove is.
Well, yeah, same with Stitch Fix. They finish the outfit, then you pick the ones you want and send back the ones you don't want.
Yeah.
Right? So that's not your business model. You're sending them the box. They're not picking what they want in there. They're getting everything that's in there. So free gift with purchase is just another marketing tactic. It's like, do you A/B test 20% off versus free $30 item, right? And you A/B test those things. But what I'd rather you do, and this is something that I've been trying to influence other brands to think about. So typically you go to a website, what happens? You're searching around, you go to leave, exit intent, so it's a pop-up that says, give us your email for 20% off your order. You've probably seen that happen, right?
Yeah.
I hate that. I'd rather the pop-up come up and say, enter your email for a free e-guide on making the top 5 best Bloody Marys. I don't know. Again, I don't know your space, but I'd rather give them something of value, right? Think about the things that are associated with Bloody Marys. Again, I don't know everything with that. You would know better than I would, but if I'm there, it means I like Bloody Marys, and I might want to look at an ebook on how to make a really cool Bloody Mary. Is that something that gets done right? People make different kinds of Bloody Marys?
Yeah. There's no end to the creativity.
Cocktail, right? Super creative. What? Is it like a cocktail? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not just vodka, it's tequila, it's gin, it's whatever you want it to be.
So again, like it could be as enter your email for this recipe to make this Halloween fire Bloody Mary. If I like Bloody Marys, I'm going to put my email in there so I get the recipe. And now you've got their email to then put them in an email flow, give them an offering to sign up.
Okay. I do like that. I thought about monthly themed boxes, Easter and Christmas, but then again, I still only had my one product. So I just had to figure out what else I could put in that box.
Well, when you're theming it, think about the items that are going along with it, and think about giving them a recipe that fits the theme.
Yeah. Yep.
The recipe could be just as cool. That should come with it. And then what happens is then you have the user getting that, making it, posting it on social.
Right.
Like, Perry loved this Halloween, the Friday the 13th Bloody Mary. Like, get creative with it. Like, people love that stuff, and then they feel that you're putting in that time and effort to curate something really awesome. Right. That's going to get everybody super excited, and it's going to build a community. And you know what? Community businesses are the best ones.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was going for, you know, with the St. Louis box. Have you ever heard of a pork steak?
I've not.
That's a very St. Louis thing, but and I was going to put a recipe for a pork steak with all the sauces and rubs, and then you get a little taste of St. Louis along with it.
I mean, when you put time and energy, the audience understands that and feels that, and that gets them to stay on. Yeah. So look, I think you've got something cool here.
Thank you.
These are little details that are so easy to iron out. Just think about enhancing that consumer experience all along the way. What's very important to understand is the consumer experience is not just when that box gets delivered. It starts from the time the consumer sees one of your ads, to seeing one of your social posts, to the time they hit your website, through the checkout process, the product delivery, and post-product communication. That's the whole customer experience. Brands will fail because they're just transactional. Come to my site, buy, thanks.
Right.
You want them to have an experience from the moment they touch your website to the time that they're in their kitchen making that Bloody Mary, having it with one of their friends. Like that's how you do it.
Have an experience and a drink while you're doing it.
Yeah. So, all right, I got a couple more minutes. So give me your last question.
Last question would probably be, well, I know you sold your business, so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just any major no-nos or any major yeses that I should be focused on?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mentioned the customer experience. You know, are you building this? Are you getting scrappy on the build out of this? Do you have a budget for marketing? Are you trying to get like sort of be like scrappy, meaning like a lot of like legwork initially, less Facebook ads? Like, what are you trying to do? What's your
I wouldn't say scrappy. I haven't done a whole lot with social media. I'm not big in social media in my personal life, so I do struggle with that a little bit. I'm working with Exceed from Boxes Inc. here in St. Louis. She's done a great job putting together my boxes and the branding and everything. So, do you mean scrappy just in terms of?
Well, like how do you plan to? What's your go-to-market strategy? How are you going to get awareness to it?
Well, Crate Joy, I was hoping would help with my virtual storefront.
So that's my number one. You need to put a go-to-market strategy. Just because I was just doing this talk with somebody yesterday. Just because you build a website doesn't mean anybody's coming. Right. Doesn't mean anybody's going to go to the website. So think about how you're going to get awareness to this. So
sorry to interrupt. So I own my domain, carriesmarys.com. And then I also was going to do the storefront on Crate Joy. Do you link those together, or do they operate as separate entities?
They operate as separate, I think.
Okay.
I think you can build it on Crate Joy, but I think you'd want to have a website and also have it on the Crate Joy marketplace.
Both places.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So then the other part is build a go-to-market strategy, which is going to be super important. And then you said you're not that you don't use social media a lot, so then like let's start using it. Like you just need to. It's the way the consumer behavior is happening, right? Everybody's on social media more than ever, given what's happened with COVID. It's the way that we're connecting. So like you need to, like, I don't care like how much you hate it, do it for the brand. Because I think
I don't want to be the face of the brand. I just want it to have its own living, its own breathing entity. So.
Well, you also called it Carrie's Marys.
The box, yes, I did.
Right?
I
did. What's your fear about being the face of it?
I'm not good with attention. I don't like it.
You told me that you had never done a live before and you did amazing right now. So maybe you're better at it than you think, right? Like I think this is just generalized advice. It's, things are always easier said than done, but the truth is like, just do it. Be you. People are going to connect with you. They're going to love you. And like, no one's judging. Like, build an amazing brand, stand behind it. Like, Carrie being behind it might be the reason this works really well. And it doesn't always have to be about Carrie as being the face. Like, build an amazing brand, but you are Carrie behind it, right? And so, like, I want you to think about that and the success of this business and the success for the local businesses, if that's how you want to think about it, because I know that makes you happy. Might be like really doing that. So, you know what? Start getting on the social media. Get good with Instagram. Get good with Facebook. Get good with TikTok. Like, I know you just got. Listen, I'm telling you, this is what you have to do. And And you know what? It's never been a more opportune time. So you'll do great. Don't be afraid to do it.
All right, I'm going to do it. I'll do it.
Thanks so much for being on. And if anybody else listening wants to be on this show to be able to fire off questions to me, you can go to subta.com/ChrisGCares, and there's a form to fill out. I'll be on every Wednesday, being able to answer questions to any of you that are looking to start a business. Again, Carrie, thanks so much. And
thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Okay.